Another thing that I found out I can do with this, and I think the real benefits of this, for some reason, and I think it's because I'm cutting on both sides, it goes where I want it to go. If I was to go on the outside of a bowl and try to do some beads or try to put some small lines in there, if I was to use a skew, which I've done before, sometimes it goes really good, sometimes it goes really bad. For some reason, most of the time with this, I can go about any place I want to go. Now this is a tough angle here because we have all kinds of different curves going in different directions. But I can point this right here and it'll go right there. For some reason, it just goes where I want it to go. I'm not smart enough to tell you why, but I'm sure somebody out there is. And then I can roll a bead on top of the bead if I actually want to. I'm using this on the end grain here. You wouldn't want to try to put beads or anything on a piece of spalted wood unless you stabilize it somehow with some epoxy or something. On any of your denser woods, it'll do a good job. You can kind of see there, I didn't quite get to the top of this bead yet. I'm going to work on that just a little bit more. My eyeballs ain't the best this time of the morning, but Larry's an early riser, so he got me up here and he got me going. That's just some of the things you can do with this. I'm sure there's a lot of smart people out there to figure out other things. I can even use it here where it's not true yet. You can kind of see the shaving that it gets. Part of the reason that this works as well as it does, I think, is the steel that I got here is M42 cobalt, and it's very hard, and we get a very sharp edge here. And it works better than the ones that I made out of inferior material before. You can see it'll take quite a shaving there. Not really pushing hard there, just letting the tool do the work. And once you get that burr gone off there, I'm going to show you how to touch this up with a hone while we're right here. You want to look at some of that and see if we need to do something with lights?
So far, I'm really
right there.
So far, this is working really good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ready?
Oh, I've been recording.
Oh, he's always ready.
I
That's what Larry
I don't
is.
stop.
Okay, well, he just keeps recording. So what I have here is just a diamond hone. I can't tell you what grit this is. I've had it probably 15 or 20 years, but it still has some bite to it. I think around a 600 grit, one of those little credit card type diamond hones would work great. So what I'm going to do, let's see if Larry can get this on the camera. I'm just going to set it on there and just hone this edge a little bit. That's all I'm going to do. When we go to the grinder, I'll show you how to really touch it up. Probably get a little bit more stable right here.
Yeah, I'm on the wrong side then.
Let me see here. I'll try to get this someplace so Larry can get a picture of this. How's that, Larry?
That's great.
So I'm just going to hone the end of this a little bit. Not a lot, because I'll usually go back to the grinder and I kind of like a little burr on there. So that's how I would sharpen it. It's a great little tool to play with and have fun with it. And I just don't know how you can get a catch with it. The one thing that you can do with it that'll get you in trouble, if I'm rolling a bead here like this and I go over and hit that over there, then of course I'm going to have a line there. If I hit the other bead over here. Try to show that from the camera angle. In other words, if I'm rolling this little bead right here, and if I take that point and hit over here, I'm going to ruin that bead. But that's just where you got to practice your tool control. Okay, I'm going to take that off, and then I'll just show you the largest bead that we can make with my tools to create beading tool. I'm going to come around over here then and show you a another thing that you can do with them when you're dealing with boxes. Half-inch spindle gouge. Okay, this is the largest one, 3/8. It's going to be awfully big for this little project, but works really good if you want to bead a whole bowl or bead a hollow form. If you go on my website, if you look in salad bowls, I think you'll see a madrone salad bowl that's beaded completely down the outside. This is what I use. Now you can see we're getting real close to the end of this bead. See this little flat right here? Go back in there. Little wiggle to the right, wiggle to the left. You're going to see that flat go away. Right there. What you don't want to do on these beading tools is mess around with this flute, because anything you do in here is going to start to distort it. And between me and the machine shop, we spend a lot of time after we machine this hand polishing this, so to get it really true and to get all the lines out of it. If you look down the flute, you just don't want to go in there. You start going in here, you're going to distort the end of it, so stay away from that part of it. There, now you can see that big bead. Okay, so I'm going to come around to the spindle side of this. And let's say that this is going to be a box. We have the top and the bottom of the box. I got to get a parting tool, Larry. I'm going to this is the parting tool I make. It's just a small parting tool. Made out of the same M42 cobalt that I make all my tools out of. I'm going to show you how to install that in one of my handles. Just put that in there and we have the 2 set screws here. That's pretty much it. Pretty simple. I like to be able to interchange all my tools. So now we've got the parting tool in here. Let's say that this is a box. Say this is the bottom or the top or the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. But wherever that joint is, it's always kind of nice to either highlight that or try to conceal it. I'm going to smooth this off here. I'm going to pierce in where the box would be separated. Right there. So now, to highlight that, I might want to put a bead on there. So I'm going to use the 1/8 inch beading tool. Same thing. Roll to the right, roll to the left, roll to the right, roll to the left, roll to the right, roll to the left. I do the same thing over here. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Watching the top of the bead. When it gets round, then I'm there. When I see that little flat go away, then I'm there. You can see those little beads. Now I could pierce on off. When I bring that box back together, I've kind of highlighted that joint. It's a real easy way to do that. I have a really sharp edge right here and right here. This is another place I would use this little teardrop tool. I think on my website it's called the diamond tool. So I'm just going to take this little tool and I'm just going to knock that hard edge off right there and right there. I'm going to show you also on this side grain the same design we did on the end grain. I'm going to use the 16th inch beading tool. You can see it'll cut this pretty good here. You get nice little whispery shavings off there, especially when it's sharp. Use this little diamond point tool, teardrop. If you're doing this kind of work, be sure you breathe. Don't hold your breath. Be sure you do some practicing. You can see the shavings that come off of this thing. I was very much surprised the kind of shavings that this thing would give me, especially on a hard, dense wood. The denser the wood, the better. That's true with any kind of detail you want to put on something. Whoever's the first one to get this, you're gonna show all your guys these little tiny beads that you make. So now we're gonna go on to something else.
Hang on.
It's not a very good job. If it's, I'm gonna show them something else here. If you feel any roughness on these, just take a little piece of 400 grit. Just kind of knock those tops off. You can kind of hear the little fuzz and stuff come off there. Now we basically finish the top of the bead by running that sandpaper across it there. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. Put some wet on it. Okay, I think that covers them, doesn't it, Larry?
Yep.